Welcome back to my channel and to this series where we dive into the history of reality TV stars and their appearance on MTV's popular show The Challenge. So far on this channel I've covered everything from extremely annoying players to obnoxious and even racist ones. And of course there were the more serious videos which explored the toxic environment reality TV can create and the impact it has on those involved, including instances which have led to serious allegations, cancellations, and even lawsuits being filed. And today's video is no different in its tragic themes. This is the story of Robin Hibbard, her time on reality television and how it may or may not have played a huge part in the destruction of her life. Part 1. The Real World. Robin Hibbard was born on January 30th, 1980 in Tampa, Florida. There isn't much known about her life prior to her appearing on reality television, but looking through her old Twitter accounts, she did share some pictures from her childhood and early teenage years, mostly images of her time in high school and her being a cheerleader, as well as some modeling pictures where she looks absolutely stunning. Robin's time in high school would be especially important in this video as it's the time where she would meet her fiancé and future husband at the age of just 15 years old, when the two of them dated briefly, but more on that later. Robin's first appearance on reality television came when she was presented with the opportunity to appear on MTV's The Real World, a show which first aired in 1992 and gained massive popularity as it gathered a group of teenagers in a house with a bunch of cameras in a strange city while their every move was being filmed, in the process basically inventing reality television as we know today. During the 14th season of The Real World, which aired in 2004, we would meet a 23-year-old Robin who was working as a bartender/dancer at a Coyote Ugly bar after dropping out from law school during her freshman year. And I have to say, usually I speed through the Real World seasons when making these videos because I find them kinda boring or extremely stressful to watch. But when it comes to this season, I actually loved watching it. And it's because of the chemistry the cast have together, and of course, all the drama that kept happening. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but two of the cast members would end up getting arrested on the same night, in what I think is my favorite episode to ever air on reality television. #FreeBrad. And speaking of drama, this season starts off with conflict. Pretty much from the beginning of the show, as early as episode 2, Robin finds herself in trouble with her other roommates after making an extremely insensitive comment towards her other co-star and roommate, Jacquees.
Wait, you I swear to God, you said a ghetto. You don't look like you heard from the ghetto.
Who does somebody in the ghetto look like? I'm saying to myself, what does someone from the ghetto look like? I'm saying, like, I live in Virginia, East Virginia right now. I grew up in Patterson, New Jersey, one of the slums of New Jersey.
Okay. Not saying that someone in the ghetto cannot be articulate or cannot hold themselves the way that you do. It's just the fact that the way that you came across is not in that way.
I'm giving her the face like, are you serious? You watch entirely too much TV.
Alright, got it.
Understandably, this leaves Jacquees feeling offended and honestly just iffy about Robin and her character, and things only get worse during a night out, where Robin gets into an argument with a random man outside of a club who calls her a rude name and she responds by calling him the N-word. When Jacquees and her other roommates try to explain why they find this so offensive and unnecessary, Robin comes off as defensive and seems to be unwilling to even see their point of view.
There's a local San Diego guy staying outside of a club. He called me a bitch, and then there's an altercation. And I said probably the most hurtful thing you can say to somebody of another color.
Listen,
That ain't negative.
what did you say? Oh, see?
Oh, so now you can't talk to me.
No, I'm saying, but that's not cool with me.
Why? Because I'm white?
Yeah, because you white.
But you don't know me, you're on my
But
friends.
I don't give a damn what you use with your boys, you know what I'm saying? Because your boys ain't me.
You hear people say it, and like, it's just a word. And I've even called, like, my white friends that word.
You know what I'm saying? It's not cool. It's not cool at all.
Yeah, but if it was one of your boys, it'd be cool.
That's different. That's me and my boys because of hands. But with the hands,
Because I'm
please.
white.
You bringing them? No, it don't matter. That's anybody. That's this man, that man, anybody.
So,
You didn't mean disrespect.
I didn't mean
You
it, but
didn't
if it
mean
hurt your
disrespect.
feelings, it hurt
But
your
it was
feelings.
disrespectful
And
to
I
me.
apologize. You're not apologizing.
Yeah, but you keep. I'm not even trying to argue with you. I'm now,
I'm trying to connect
It's
with
on
you.
some other. We can't connect with you pointing up in my face. That's not connecting. We talk, we build. As a people, you build, you talk. We talk as adults. But you in my face like this.
When a brother don't
Why
bring me
why are you putting your hand? You putting your hand in my face
Because-
again. Give me 5 seconds. It don't matter if you dated 10. It matters this.
This is a different situation. You did not date him.
You can't get frustrated.
I have to sit here with y'all and talk to y'all and y'all understand where I'm coming from. He's sitting there talking to his mother because he does not have another black person in his house that he can relate with.
Which leads to multiple arguments happening around this situation, and sadly this only adds to Jack's feelings of disconnection and isolation from the group, which leads him to call a house meeting where he tries to talk through the multiple issues he's facing in the house. Most importantly, Robin's repetitive racist comments. And it's during this house meeting that a crying Robin shares something about her background that makes this situation even more complicated.
What is, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about as far as how I felt. As an African American male, I've dealt with different situations with everybody in this room, just like you've dealt with different situations because of your Asian descent.
Were you raped by somebody who was white? I'm sorry.
Okay, now it's fine.
I'm about to lose you because you don't understand where I've been.
Now it's fine. Come here. It hurts me to hear her say that she was raped. That's a bad thing. No man should ever disrespect any woman.
Now honestly, I don't want to comment on this part too much because I don't feel like it's my place, but I will say this: being attacked by a member of a certain race, whatever race that is, doesn't justify being racist to everyone included in that race. Like, that's just objectively messed up. And the second thing I want to add is that I absolutely love Jacquees. I find him so sweet, and he's one of the stand-up cast members of the season. The way he is so quick to drop all of his issues with Robin to comfort her, and the way he would come through for her later on this season, it's absolutely wholesome and just lovely to watch. After this massive setback, Robin actually goes on to develop close relationships with most of her roommates, with her and Jack working things out and actually becoming kind of besties. Another cast member that Robin would also get along with is Randy, and their relationship on the other hand is more complicated and way messier, with them hooking up during the earlier episodes of the season, only for Randy to disconnect himself later on, leaving Robin feeling a certain kind of way, and Robin arguing with him a couple of times before eventually moving on completely. And this is not the most interesting part of Robin's journey on this season, so that's all I'll say about that, because trust me, what happens next is actually mind-blowing in kind of a hilarious way. Alright, let's talk about episode 6 of the season, an absolutely iconic episode that has not only Brad getting arrested for drunken behavior, but Robin arrested as well for assaulting a Marine outside of a nightclub. Brad's arrest is pretty straightforward. He and Randy drink way too much on a night out and end up getting kicked out of the club. And Brad's loud and drunken attitude lands him in jail for the night, just until he sobers up. Robin, on the other hand, gets into trouble when their youngest castmate, who's 19 years old, isn't allowed into the club because of her age. Some random guys waiting in line start making fun of them, and in the heat of the moment, Robin pushes/punches a guy who calls the cops on her. He files an assault charge and lands Robin in jail with a bail of $8,000.
This group of guys behind us are making rude comments and making fun of the fact that Cameron can't get into the club. It triggers me.
Go to the fake one.
Wait, I shouldn't have done that, but I figured he's laughing at the whole situation. All right, that's whatever, it's squashed. A guy got very rude with me, he talked to me, and I was like, stop. Okay. That's what I did. I said, stop, get away.
That's enough for the push-up.
I'm sorry. That's what happened.
All right, he's got some scratch marks in the back of his neck.
No, not me, baby, not me. I promise. I didn't hear. You're coughing. Good luck. I want to go home.
The best part of this whole situation, aside from the funny fact that both of them got arrested on the same night, is Jacquees' whole part in this mess. Having chosen to go home early, Jacquees is at bed when his remaining extremely drunk roommates come back and inform him that Brad is in jail. He then has to try to figure out which jail has Brad, and it's here where the best line of the season is spoken. #FreeBrad.
On a hunger strike till they free my man Brad. Free Brad. Free Brad.
Jacquees is absolutely amazing. He even stays by the phone for hours in the middle of the night, waiting to hear back on where Brad is and how he can get him out. And while he's waiting, he gets a call from a distressed Robin who's also in jail.
Hello?
Are you gonna help me?
Where are you?
Duh.
What is going on? Where are you?
In jail, bro.
How in the hell did
I
you
didn't
get?
do anything, bro.
I just want to.
After Jacquees gets over his shock, he then has to call the jail to find out her charges, and he finds out that she is being held for battery, and that they need to come up with 8 grand to get her out, otherwise she will be held in jail until her court date. Obviously, Jacquees doesn't have 8 grand ready to hand out, so he has to go the extra step of calling Robin's parents to inform them of the situation so they can get their daughter out of jail. The next day, a now sober Brad gets released from jail with no charges filed, while Robin gets bailed out by her parents and is extremely distressed at this whole situation, especially with her having to wait for her court date to fully resolve this issue.
God, I just worry about their mom. You know, that's the worst, to hurt my mom. Too, Daddy, because if Dad, it wasn't for you. Dad, I love you. Daddy, thank you. Bye, Daddy.
The theme of extreme drinking, which is at this point a constant both in my videos and this era of reality television, is very clear this season. Every outing or house get-together ends up in the roommates drinking themselves silly, and more often than not, with arguments following. Moreover, when it comes to Robin's personality and her extreme anger/lack of self-control when she drinks, things are extra complicated, as her attitude starts to rub her roommates the wrong way, especially when a drunk Robin and a drunk Brad get into an argument on a night out. And Robin ends up smacking Brad a couple of times on the head even after he repeatedly asks her to stop.
2 rules. Don't touch me, and don't touch me. Robin, don't ever smack me upside the head, though, for the record. Ever again. Robin, don't hit me again. We got serious issues. I swear to God, Robin, shut your mouth. She smacked me upside the head in the ride, in an argument. Oh, Robin.
Robin cannot keep her hands to herself. There's no excuse for putting your hands on nobody, especially when we all living here. Like, how are we gonna? I'm just sick and tired of everything that Robin does. For everything that she does wrong, she makes an excuse instead of just being mature about the situation and saying, I messed up, I apologize, it's my fault. She's not sincere about any of her apologies. It's always the next day when she realizes that the whole house is mad at her.
I just feel like she lacks responsibility for herself. Right now, everybody's fed up with Robin. Everybody thinks that she makes excuses. She thinks that the rules don't apply to her. It's her way or no way. That's how everybody feels about Robin right now.
Robin gets confronted again about her poor attitude, and she does end up apologizing. However, this apology falls short of completely fixing her relationship with the other roommates, as they feel like Robin's apologies are insincere, with her always following her I'm sorries with an excuse. Robin's time in the house is made even more complicated when tension rises with one specific person who's really fed up with Robin and seems to not be able to stand her at all, and that person is Frankie. Robin's and Frankie's mutual dislike for each other causes a bunch of arguments, especially towards the end of the season, with Frankie seeming to absolutely hate Robin.
Robin, it's not always about you. She drives me nuts! On the defense because she knows she's drama queen. She knows she needs to chill out. She knows all the bad things about herself. She does nothing to change it.
This tension is only made worse when the group goes on vacation, during which Cameron, who's Robin's closest friend in the house, loses the key to hers and Robin's bedroom. Frustrated with the situation and also probably intoxicated, Robin loses it on Cameron and basically overreacts in my opinion.
You have a key to your room?
No, bitch.
You have the key.
I do not have this.
No, you are a bitch because you know what? No offense, I love you. But if I had the key, you would be in the room, I'd be asleep.
Lay down.
We got arrested for you. I am going to jail for you, bitch. Shut the up.
She even throws the fact that she got arrested for Cameron in her face. And I'm just here to fact check this a little bit, but no, you got arrested because you chose to react the way you did. Cameron didn't ask you to do that, so that's kind of unfair in my opinion. Anyways, in an ironic turn of events, Frankie, who previously wanted nothing to do with Robin, comes to her defense and seems to want to calm things down between the two girls. However, when they end up making up on their own, Frankie is then seen as the person who is trying to make the fight worse by interfering, and this eventually leads to Frankie choosing to exit the show right before the finale, as she had already had multiple issues with her roommates before this one specific fight, and is really just not fitting in with the group. Robin ends her first appearance on reality television by doing much of what she had already done this entire season. Getting drunk, arguing with random strangers at the club, and pretty much crying on the streets, sometimes quite literally. On the bright side though, she does make her court date, where she and her lawyer managed to reduce her previous charges to lesser ones. I know I forgot to mention this earlier, but she meets another Marine and they actually leave the show as a couple, which is nice, I guess.
I have learned that there's a definite point that I can reach when I drink too much. And I don't want to reach that point ever again.
When I was thinking about making this video, I came across a lot of comments from viewers of both the real world and the challenge have the belief that Robin has always been quote-unquote crazy. And this statement is of course aimed at her incredibly tragic path after exiting reality television. And I have to say, I don't really agree. I think her drinking and partying, as excessive as it wasn't that weird when you consider her real lifetime job at the time, as well as the fact that she was just 23 years old at the time of filming her season of the real world. Moreover, her appearance on the challenge would present a more subtle version of herself for the most part, and her drinking doesn't seem to be as big as a factor when compared to her appearance on the real world San Diego. Part 2: The Challenge. Robin would make her debut on The Challenge, which is another extremely successful MTV series, in 2005, with her appearance on Season 9 known as Battle of the Sexes 2. Overall, Robin's rookie season is pretty quiet and unproblematic. Throughout the season, which was played in 2 teams and had 36 players participating in the challenge, Robin really takes a background role. Despite her lack of screen time, however, she does come off as very likable, competitive, and refreshingly unafraid of the vet players who are known to strategically dominate the game. Her physical performance throughout the season is impressive as well, especially when considering that this is her first season on this physically demanding show. Robin's connection to Mark also was honestly really cute to see. The pair started out as friends and would end the season officially being together. Their on and off relationship would continue throughout the years, with Mark being a huge part of Robin's challenge career.
Coming here, my focus was just, on winning, and I got an added bonus, I met Mark, he's just amazing, he's a great guy, he's funny, he's good-hearted, it's just everything I think that I am too. I don't know, we just get along really well.
Robin's smooth ride this season would come to an end during episode 14 when things go really bad for her, with her volunteering as a team leader for the girls' team in a rough daily challenge, putting her at risk of going home if her team loses. And sadly, that's exactly what happens. Her lackluster performance during this specific episode makes her even more of a target, as the other girls feel frustrated with her due to her costing her teammates valuable time. Robin exits season 9 during this episode, and her exit is honestly very sweet. She's a good sport about it, and she wishes the other girls luck for the remaining of the season.
Me? Robin. Who, me? Who, me? Okay, cool, don't cry, man. Dude, come on, this is the game. I feel bad going home because the other 2 women here deserve to be here. I don't hate y'all. Can't hate the players, hate the game. It's okay. It's okay. Just kick ass. Just kick ass, man.
Overall, Robin's first season of the challenge had everything you need in a rookie season. There was competition, a bit of drama, and even romance.
I'm not winning 60 grand. I only won about 2 prizes, but I have a much better prize. I met Mark and I'm really happy. So.
Robin would make her second appearance on the challenge the following year, with her invitation to participate in the Good Guys team on the Inferno 2. And it doesn't take long for Robin to find herself in drama, and it's all because of Mark, her current boyfriend. The drama starts when Robin is seen talking to Beth about her relationship with Mark. Beth then reveals that Tanya has been going around saying that her and Mark have been hanging out, probably at the same time that Mark has been dating Robin. And I'm sure you see the issue here, and so does Robin, who goes on to confront Tanya about these rumors, and when Tanya basically confirms it, all hell breaks loose, and a bunch of insults are thrown at Tanya's way.
I decided to confront Tanya about why is she lying about hooking up with Mark. Hearing number 1, that you're saying that I was his rebound chick, and number 2, that you've been watching movies with him and hanging out with him, and I don't appreciate that because we're still dating, so I don't appreciate all that. I'm not dating him, I never was. Good, then shut your mouth, you whore, shut your mouth. Oh, really? Bottom line is, you're lying. Listen, so solid, you're so no, Tanya, because you know why? Because I call Mark, and Mark says... Everything that came out of your mouth, he denied. So of course I'm gonna believe Mark.
Oh, you're gonna believe Mark? You better reevaluate your relationship with him, because obviously he's both of us.
Tanya, you're such a dirty whore.
So now you hear the story and it all ends up coming out true.
Well, listen, if I was a guy and some whore put their vagina in my face, I'd him too. Does he date you? No. Does he what? No. Because you know why? You're a whore.
Now I have to say I really feel bad for Tanya here. I mean, I obviously have a soft spot for her after the whole hour-and-a-half video I made going through the horrible treatment she received on her time on reality television from both the men and the women on the show, and how tragically that ended. Also, at this point I have completely given up on these videos being objective. So yeah, I'm on Tanya's side here. Don't call her a whore in front of the whole house, like that's just not okay. As the fight progresses though, both Robin and Tanya end up looking like mean and horrible girls. In Tanya's case, it's when she decides to confront a sleeping Beth about the rumors she's been spreading. When Beth refuses to talk about it unless it's with both Robin and Tanya, a frustrated Tanya chooses to throw her suitcase and her belongings in the pool, in a move that is so unnecessary and is actually pretty mean. Which honestly, with this fight, no one looks good here, not even Mark, who as it turns out was in fact sleeping with both women.
Tanya came to the next challenge, the Inferno 2, with pictures of her and Mark. Like, cuddly, lovey, whatever, touching, and was showing them to people. And one of the people she showed it to was Beth.
It's not like she was saying, you know, Beth, I really trust you with this. Look at the pictures, but don't tell anyone. I know I can trust you. No, that's not what happened at all. Like, she told me, Robin came up to me, asked me a question, I answered.
And then that explodes into this, like, me telling Tanya that she's an evil whore.
Tanya and I may have gotten drunk at a bar in Georgia and slept in the same room.
I kind of lost my temper on her, and then come to find out I'm the idiot because they did sleep together, so.
On a game level, things aren't going well either for Robin, as her team loses 3 daily challenges back to back, and Robin gets chosen by the bad guys team to go into an elimination against Tina on episode 4 of the season. This elimination is a physical one, where both women are tasked to drag half of their body weight in the sand in order to get to a key that allows them to free themselves and win the elimination. And Robin struggles to even get started with this one, while Tina flies through it, leaving Robin behind as she exits the game with no money in a season that has been really short and presented Robin in a less than favorable way. Robin this season wasn't my favorite.
I just want to say to my team, this has been the best experience because your attitudes are great and you guys are great people. Don't break your team apart by listening to anything that they have to say. And I really hope that you guys continue to win. And I'm sad to be gone, but I'm proud to say that I'm a good guy and I was on a good team.
Robin would be back to film season 11 of the challenge known as The Gauntlet 2, a season which would feature a lot more of Robin, and have her finally walk away with some money for her efforts.
Right off the bat, just the vibe and the people that are here, I'm so happy. This challenge is awesome.
This season's format plays in 2 teams, the vets versus the rookies, and Robin is obviously a part of the vets team, with this being her 3rd appearance on the show. Another player who's also on the vets team is Mark, and while the two of them have broken up, they do seem to have a good friendship going on. However, similar to the last season, Robin finds herself with another girl that Mark has dated, as Mark and Jody apparently had a serious relationship that lasted only 3 weeks, which I honestly don't know how serious it can be if it lasted less than a month. But oh well, Mark, at least the way the show edits it, seems to have played Jody and really messed with her feelings, leaving her in tears when she sees him and Robin kinda getting back together.
I dated Mark before I got here. I had no explanation for why we even stopped dating. Like, he told me he loved me, and he's a totally different person here. I just look at him and I'm like, who is this person?
Jody and I dated for 3 weeks. Once I was removed from the situation, I realized that there's no way I could be that serious with her, because literally, I just didn't want to go there. I don't want to date her anymore. She's got to just come to grips with that, I guess.
What?
Jody grabs me and she's like,
Oh, okay, you're freaking me out. What?
she's like, Dad, I was dating Mark Long and we...
Did you? No, it's cool. I knew that. I have no problem with that because she really liked him. About her.
He told me he loved me.
What? Shut up.
Yeah.
Here. Don't even start with me. He never said he loved her.
And while Beth once again tries to escalate things between the two girls, Robin in her defense does approach this situation way better than how she dealt with it when Tanya was involved. There is no screaming or name calling, instead the two girls continue to get along with no issues. Things between her and Mark, however, don't go as smoothly, as both of them get into an argument on the bus, drunk after a night out.
I need to get out. I need to get out. Open the door, driver. Punch a hole through the...
Despite this explosive fight, Robin and Mark continue the season together. Robin's position in the game is surprisingly otherwise free of drama. She gets along with her other teammates well and puts up a really good physical performance in the daily challenges, continuing to show her competitive side, which carries her all the way to her first final. Season's 11 final, however, is extremely disappointing and honestly kinda confusing, with the unnecessary introduction of bets to the game. The final is played in 3 stages instead of a race through, however, like how these finals usually go. This time both teams are given coins that they are instructed to bet with on each stage of the final. The vets team decides to go all out on the first stage, which is an eating portion, betting nearly their entire coin collection on it, as well as putting most of their players on the first part of the challenge, meaning if they win the first portion, they essentially win the final, in a high-risk strategy that backfires when the rookies team, despite having less players assigned to this part, end up winning by a 15-second margin, leaving the vets team with essentially no coins or players to compete for the remaining 2 portions of the challenge. The vets, knowing how doomed this is, decide to basically quit.
There's no way that we can win this. So as a team, we decide that we're just gonna walk. We're done.
You won the whole thing! Congratulations, guys! Love y'all!
Cheers.
We bet everything on the food!
Which is how we ended up with the most disappointing finale in all of the challenge history, in my opinion. On the bright side, Robin does manage to get an $8,000 reward before exiting the game. Robin's next appearance on the challenge would be in Brazil and featuring her new hair, a color that she would rock throughout her next seasons. The duel, which was filmed in 2007, would finally allow Robin to compete as an individual, replacing the tradition of teams for a chance for the players to play their own strategic game. Robin starts off the season well, with her winning the first daily challenge, and this good luck carries throughout the first half of the season, all the way up to episode 6, where she finds herself in her first elimination of the season. She goes in against Casey in a physical elimination, and with Robin having the weight advantage, she manages to beat Casey, sending her home and earning her place back in the game. This, however, wouldn't be Robin's last elimination on season 13, and the next one is a lot more complicated. It takes place as a result of Robin making really nasty comments to Anissa after a night of drinking.
I'm drunk and Robin is just completely wasted right now, and she just can get kind of crazy when she's drunk. You confuse the out of me. Nisa, if you're gay, lesbian, straight, black, white, Puerto Rican, Portuguese, pick something.
Black, white, nothing. I never say anything to anybody racially. Get the out of my face, you're a disgrace to women. And you say the racial to me? You are an embarrassment. I'm embarrassed to be a woman because of you. Who are you?
After Anissa seeks her out the next day to talk things out, Robin offers a lackluster apology while still basically saying the same comments she made the night before, except now with her being completely sober.
You sleep, you awake, what's up? No, because I want to talk to you because I want to do it tomorrow.
Like wherever we are, it's like you're this, you're that, you're... I've done 3 challenges with you, and every time I've got a different Anissa with different hair, different accents. It's hard to trust somebody that doesn't even know who she is and like where she's coming from.
The first time you've ever said anything about my sexuality, this is the 4th time.
I don't understand your sexuality.
It's not for you to understand, because sometimes I don't even get it.
I apologize for offending you,
But you need to learn from it, though. This will not be the last time.
This obviously offends Anissa as well as the remaining players in the house, painting a huge target at Robin's back, and results into Anissa picking Robin in an elimination. Robin loses to Anissa, ending her appearance on this season early after having left a really bad taste in everyone's mouth. Many fans of the challenge would go on to cite this specific season as the beginning of Robin's spiral, and I tend to agree. It's the first time that Robin's drinking has ever been mentioned, and it's also the first season where Robin has come off as completely unlikable. So yeah, I can see where everyone is coming from.
As long as I say sorry, make amends, leave with my dignity, leave classy, and then we're good to go.
Robin would make her 5th back-to-back appearance on the challenge season 15, known as the Gauntlet 3, which aired in 2008. This season would mark Robin's 2nd final and 2nd disappointing loss, but more on that later. Season 15 of the challenge takes the form of 2 teams competing against each other, and Robin once again is playing the game as part of the Vets team, which is a really good team that pretty much dominates the entire season, winning nearly every single daily challenge, which in turn allows Robin to stay under the radar as the season progresses and guarantees Robin's safety, providing her with a smooth ride all the way to the final episode. The one downside to the Vets' constant winning is the fact that they maintain nearly all of their players by avoiding eliminations, and this fact starts to bother the guys as they slowly come to the realization that the final would be harder for them to run as they have way too many players. Moreover, if they win the final prize money, they would have to divide that money between all of them, meaning less money goes for each player. This leads to the guys, mostly Evan, Kenny, and CT, trying to throw daily challenges in order to get rid of their quote-unquote dead weight, aka the girls, completely ignoring their biggest liability, Big Easy, a player who everyone seems to agree is not fit to run a final, but the guys are also scared of facing him in a one-on-one elimination, so instead they focus their attention on taking out the girls.
You want to pass the finish line with the end of this. And who do you think is going to be the biggest anchor doing that? And I think that's easy, dude. We're not at the end. We're right now, son. And if you go down, who's going to carry you? I don't go down. Damn it. I'll stand up to the finish.
And it's here where the extremely negative and toxic divide between the women and men begin, led by Kenny and Evan, and their unnecessary nasty comments and treatments of their fellow female co-stars.
I just want a JVC camcorder. Now I can videotape all you ugly girls when I don't win the money at the end of this challenge.
I'm hoping to leave some of these chicks buried in the box. We could do without Coral, Katie. Just leave them in the box. After a while, the screams will go away, trust me.
The men's behavior, which is arguably tame at this point, would reach its peak nastiness during the following season, The Island. But for now, when the Vets team, including Robin, reaches the final to face off against a much leaner rookie team, things go horribly wrong.
Who's about to win a final?
Who's about to win? I've never won a challenge. I've only made it to the end once and lost. I have got to win this final challenge. I want to know what it feels like to cross that finish line as a winner.
And it all starts when Big Easy predictably slows them down during the first stage of the final. His performance is even worse during the following stage, where the entire team is tied together in a racing portion, where Big Easy's body completely breaks down as the guys yell and scream at him to push through. Things are so bad that he has to be taken out by an ambulance and spends the remaining portion of the challenge in the hospital. The Vets team decides to carry on without him, and in a surprising turn of events, they not only manage to catch up to the rookies team, but they actually beat them, technically finishing the final first. However, as they did so without Big Easy, their win is essentially cancelled, and the rookies win the final after finishing the final stage as a team, leaving Robin and everyone on the Vets team completely devastated.
Because nobody had the balls to go against Big Easy in a gauntlet. This is why we lost the final challenge, because none of you guys wanted to face him one-on-one in the gauntlet, so you let him slide all the way to the end, and now look.
While this final wasn't as frustrating as the Gauntlet 2 final, it's still pretty annoying to watch. The Vets team completely dominated the season, and they are obviously the stronger team. They even managed to win despite the delay they had with Big Easy, and that only adds to my frustration with this whole episode. Had the Vets taken it easy on Big Easy, they might have still been able to complete the final as one team, and probably even win the whole thing. Moreover, the whole strategy of the guys getting rid of the girls because they are weaker, while leaving Big Easy on their team is an extra level of delusional. At the end, Robin would exit her 5th season having done 2 finals and with no title to her name. Alright, let's talk about The Island. And oh my god, what a baffling and truly disturbing season The Island is. I kinda love hating this season. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I was flying through the episodes in disbelief at how horrible almost everyone was, and I just had to see what would happen next. Let me explain. Season 16 of the challenge, known as The Island, is, it's weird. It completely abandons the usual format of the show and goes for a vibe that is very similar to Survivor. I mean, honestly, it's a whole new, entirely different show. The first episode, which introduces us to the cast, Robin included, is nothing like the usual first episodes of the previous seasons, where everyone rushes through to a mansion in the middle of nowhere and parties before the game begins. Instead, the players are dropped off by a boat to an island in the middle of nowhere, with a limited supply of food, water, hygienic supplies, and pretty much everything else you need to survive comfortably. One thing, however, that is not in short supply is, of course, alcohol, making the island a truly wonderful environment for anyone's mental health. Because when you're stuck on an island with barely anything to eat and no way to entertain yourself, with a bunch of people who are actively plotting to get rid of you, alcohol is definitely a good idea. I mean, you got to give it to the producers here. They know how to deliver drama, and oh my god, is this season dramatic.
Everybody in the island's getting a little crazy.
I hate it. This is miserable.
It's hot, hungry.
Miserable. Food is sparse.
I haven't really eaten.
I don't really know what I'm gonna eat.
All these people are so crazy.
Don't talk to me like that.
They're losing their minds, man.
So what? There's
Ian, why can't you just believe
I think people are gonna start freaking out real soon. It's Golden Alliance. You're part of the Golden Alliance.
The Island marks Robin's 6th back-to-back appearance on the challenge, and she's ready for anything.
This is my 6th challenge, and I want to win more than anything ever.
Although I really don't think she knows what she's about to go through. In fact, I don't think anyone is. This season gets rid of the format of the daily challenges, and this suggests that the true challenge this season is simply getting through this nightmare without losing your mind, a challenge which a few of the players actually fail, in my opinion. A big theme that would develop this season, or rather carry through from the previous seasons, is the boys being absolutely horrible to the women around them. The subtle digs and passive-aggressive comments, however, are replaced by what I can only describe as absolute hate and extremely nasty attitudes that the women have to deal with throughout the season. And the two leaders of this quote-unquote women suck movement are definitely Johnny Bananas and his right-hand man Kenny. Truly, the comments that come out of these two men's mouths are undescribable at times, and they make the season very frustrating to watch. From constantly degrading the women, picking on them by commenting on their age and their bodies, to almost withholding fruit from them and basically just calling them dumb to their face all the time. I mean, honestly, you have to watch the season to get how bad it progressively got.
Kitty, you still live at home with your parents.
So do you idiot. And you're twice my age.
I'm not twice your age.
You're like 35. You're
I'm
still
28.
here. You ain't much plastic surgery you had in the last year. I'll
Stop
know
it.
that. Don't think someone stuck a hose in your mouth and deflated you. So we need to be told what to do. Like most women. No one wants to listen to you, you dumb bitch. You know what? You didn't help. You can have a chicken bone. We need more food here.
Why? You can't eat your own fat?
You haven't, you anorexic bitch. Robin's Robin. She's not as stupid as we all think, but she is pretty stupid. Shut up. Go home already. Stop eating her food. Stop being a bitch. When will she just die and go away?
You're a giant.
Not a giant.
I haven't yelled once.
Holy, you're a bitch. Take your telescope and shove it up your ass, because I didn't do that, you dumb bitch.
The more guys you have at the end, the less girls, the better off you are, hands down. Guys, just mentally, emotionally, and physically, 9 times out of 10 are going to be better people to have on the island.
All of this tension and constant fighting, alongside the fact that they are actually starving and constantly getting attacked by a swarm of bugs and even getting bitten by wasps, obviously creates a very negative and stressful environment that only adds to the difficulty of playing this already difficult game. As a result, two sides begin to form within the island, with one side being the girls who hate Johnny and Kenny and everything they stand for. This side, which is lovingly referred to by Johnny Bananas as the feminazis,
Female feminazi misfits,
is led by Rachel and is in direct opposition of Johnny's and Kenny's side, who has Paula, Derek, Dunbar, and Joanna. Joanna is sleeping with Kenny, just keep that in mind. In Robin's case, she kinda maintains a neutral stance for most of the season, floating between the two sides, even after her explosive fight with Joanna, which happens due to, you guessed it, food. Like seriously, nearly 90% of the arguments that take place this season are over food, as the cast is actually starving for nutrition with each episode that goes by. I was sitting there watching these fights thinking, production, please just feed these people.
Grab the fork, dig in the plate, and grab a big ass.
Look at that's my big portion. That's my big portion that I had one bite of. That's my big portion.
Robin, you have to understand, there's 17 other people.
I have cleaned when no one else has cleaned.
I've cleaned when no one else has. I've cooked. I have swam out there when no other girl did.
Okay.
I have me in the eyes again. Feeling a beat attack.
I'm attacking you. No one's attacking you.
You're attacking.
You're paranoid. I'm not a...
That's your game plan then? To your way to end? Wow! Here's the thing. I don't give a I'm Kenny because I like him. Why did I? Because I liked him too.
I look like the man. I got 2 chicks right now fighting over why they banged me.
This fight only affirms the idea that everyone has about Robin, specifically about her being extremely paranoid and a messy player, especially when she gets into another screaming match with rookie player Ashley, after calling her a rookie, something which Ashley takes offense to and proceeds to call Robin old and basically washed up. But on the bright side, which won't stay bright for a long time, Robin does connect with another player, Dan, and the two bond over their similar way of thinking and have a really cute, although sometimes crazy, relationship that develops throughout the season, until it comes crashing down when both of their drinking results into a huge nasty fight that was also kind of funny to watch. Like, yes, I am appreciative of the fact that Dan this season has a clear drinking problem and he's struggling with it, and that Robin was definitely not in the best headspace mentally, but you guys, the reason they start fighting is just so funny to me.
If we didn't have sex, how did you know I'm a limp? If we never had sex, we were never in that scenario, how did you know I'm a limp?
I don't know.
I'm trying to be nice and not tell everybody that I have done the business with Robin. But she has gone the extra step and told everybody that I tried and I was limp. You trashed me, you lying. I was being nice, I didn't say it, Robin. And you told people that I was limp.
Robin and Dan's relationship is based on the fact that they're both 2 crazy alcoholics who drink themselves into oblivion.
The side led by Mr. Toxicity himself, Johnny Bananas, successfully eliminates Rachel from the game, which results in them having the numbers on the Girls' Alliance. And Johnny takes this opportunity to graduate from bullying Kellyanne to bullying both Kellyanne and Evelyn, and he's especially nasty to Evelyn, taking personal digs at her and basically calling her a dumb bitch every chance he gets, making her time on the island, which I imagine to be already miserable, a living hell. Moreover, he is aided by one of my least favorite female players on the challenge, Paula, who is such a pick-me girl this season. She quite literally spends the whole season running after Johnny and Kenny, doing everything they want, and says some of the most outlandish, delusional things you've ever heard in the process.
Who do you think should build the boats and why is not even a question. Of course I want the boys to build the boats. Have you seen these girls? They braid hair. Let them braid the hair, let the boys tie the knots. It's not that I'm anti-girl, I'm just anti-stupid. When Kenny says, Robin, I got you, that is the holy grail. If boys are saying, yeah, we'll build both boats, why do you want to be a girl and be like, no, I want to build a boat myself?
As the final for this season approaches, the group is required to build 2 functional boats to sail out of the island with in order to reach another island where a treasure lies. Whichever team reaches that treasure first wins the season. Robin makes it all the way to the final, having stayed out of the firing line of the Johnny Bananas alliance. And speaking of the men's alliance, they do the only good thing this season when they turn on Paula by ditching her as a team member. Instead of taking her with them as part of their team made up of Johnny, Kenny, and Derek, they opt to make a deal with Evelyn instead, inviting her to be a part of their team, knowing that she is a much better competitor than Paula. And I repeat, I loved seeing Paula's reaction to this betrayal from the 2 men who she stood by as they basically abused women in front of her, only for them to turn around and basically do the same thing to her.
You're a piece of You guaranteed her a spot on your boat if this guy went. As far as alliance goes, she was never in it, and you never talked to me about it, and you just went ahead and just did it anyway.
feel really lied to right now. $34,999.99. That's how much our friendship is worth.
At the final, Paula, Robin, Ryan, and Jen would end up forming the other team by default, which sadly would turn out to be the much weaker team, as they lose the final, making this Robin's third final she reached without winning the prize money. In conclusion of this season, all I have to say here is that it was an interesting season to watch. I wasn't a fan of the format, and the final ended way too quickly and was kinda disappointing. Obviously, the behavior of the boys, specifically Johnny and Kenny, was horrible, and in Johnny's case, he would catch a lot of backlash for his choices of words and the way he carried himself each episode during the reunion show. However, his reaction to the girls calling him out for the way he treated them comes off as insincere, and he ends up, in a way, blaming the whole thing on how the show chose to edit him.
It was a very male-dominated island, and what I mean by that is that you guys, I understand, you guys came in with your alliance, which is fine, which means friendship. I understand, I've done enough of these to know that. But the way that you guys went about it, like the control factor, I mean, you walked around like you guys were gods and kings and that we all needed to like, no, you really did. John, no, it was telling us that we were dumb. It was telling us that we were stupid. You guys constantly told women that we were either dumb, that we, couldn't build a boat, we couldn't do anything.
You couldn't. You gotta take into consideration the conditions we were living in. Okay. This is not a normal challenge. These aren't normal circumstances. This show was devoid of villain, obviously. The usual suspects weren't on it. So I filled in that role, I guess. They needed a villain. I gave them enough footage to do that. And the way I see it is the higher up on the ladder you get, the bigger the target on your ass gets. You know what I mean?
Robin would continue her streak of appearances on the challenge in 2009, when she appeared on season 17 known as The Duel 2, making this her 7th season and I guess at this point her full-time job.
I love challenges. Challenges are my favorite thing, and I love doing physical activities and like pushing myself to the limit, so this is right in my alley.
A 29-year-old Robin is joined by her usual co-stars, who are by now real-life friends, to once again compete in daily challenges in hopes of winning the final prize money of $300,000. This season showcases a different Robin that would struggle to get along with the people she had spent nearly a decade competing with. Season 17 would continue the theme of everyone referring to Robin as both paranoid and crazy, often behind her back. And I'm not sure if there is a lot of things going on that we are just not seeing, or maybe it's Robin's behavior outside the game that makes people constantly call her paranoid, but either way it's clear that something is off here.
Who was laying outside? Ryan and Psycho.
Look at her, Psycho, right?
You're crazy. We love you. You're Psycho.
Robin plays this game very paranoid, and the last place you want to put yourself in with paranoia and anxiety issues is a challenge.
Robin's lack of connection to the other players in the game leaves her on the bottom of everyone's list, which results into her getting picked last on episode 2, meaning she's going into an elimination, and she chooses to go in against Kimberly. During the elimination, Robin loses to Kimberly, ending her time in the game after only 2 episodes of filming.
Everyone's like, Robin, you've done so many challenges, it's your 7th. Why do you keep coming back and doing it? It's like, I come back because I love pushing myself, and I feel like I was cheated, It's like, all of you guys took that from me, and it sucks.
In contrast to the positive and happy attitude Robin had in her previous seasons, where she would always remain positive after her eliminations, this season finds Robin feeling bitter at the treatment she received from people who she considered close friends and allies, and honestly, who could blame her? People on the show keep calling her paranoid and anxious, only for her to go home and see everyone talking about her behind her back, even going as far as calling her psycho while waving and smiling to her face. Like, I don't know about you guys, I might get paranoid too if these were the circumstances I was playing in. After her short and stressful appearance on The Duel 2, Robin would take a 2-year break before returning to film her 8th season of the challenge. But sadly, her time on season 21, known as Rivals, which aired in 2011, would be even shorter than her previous one, with her exiting the game on the first episode of the show. Rivals, as the name suggests, pairs up the players with their rivals, and for Robin, that would mean her and Anissa teaming up. The pair actually do really well on the first daily challenge, coming in second place. However, when Evelyn and Paula lose, the house decides to send in a strong team to get rid of them. Despite both Robin and Anissa pleading their case to the remaining players, the votes led by Laurel land on them, sending them in for the first elimination of the season. Robin takes this nomination extremely hard, especially with her being a new mother and wanting the prize money to help support her growing family.
You can either beat one of the best teams here, debatably one of the best teams here, and go and have a better shot of winning, or you just go home to your kid.
That's another reason why I'm here.
You're good, girl.
I know, you should.
I thought that was going to make you smile, not cry.
No, because that makes it even more why I want the money.
Being away from my child is extremely hard, but if I have the opportunity to make a lot of money to change me and my son's life, it also gives me so much drive and determination.
Robin and Anissa would lose the elimination, sending Robin home on her shortest season thus far. Robin's final season of the challenge aired in 2012 and reunited her with Mark, in a season built around the theme of exes competing together as a team. Robin's and Mark's relationship during the season is complicated. They're definitely exes, and for the most part they get along well. However, Mark does feel like having her as a partner has made this game more difficult for him, because apparently a lot of people just don't get Robin, which I mean, yeah, that's exactly what we've been seeing during her last few seasons.
I'm right here, but vampire, bitches. Is this true, me?
You said I'm funny.
One of the problems with Robin is she really has a horrible social game. She just thinks she's different than people, which she is, but it doesn't make it easy for me.
Robin, on the other hand, feels like Mark doesn't listen to her and is leading their team on his own, disregarding her opinions throughout the way. Overall, their team up is definitely not that good, which leaves Robin in a tough spot, especially when she finds out that Rachel and some of the other people in the house have been going around saying that she doesn't deserve to be on this season and that Mark is carrying her socially, only adding fuel to her already perceived paranoia.
Obviously, there was a huge conversation between Rachel and Johnny about me being crazy. I know I'm not crazy. I had no idea they all thought that way.
Despite Robin questioning her position in the game and her partnership with Mark, she actually kicks ass during the 5th episode of the season, and honestly so does Mark. They complete the daily challenge easily, beating Johnny and Camilla, who so far have been winning almost every single daily. And it's really nice to see Robin gain back her self-confidence and throw it back in the face of everyone saying that she isn't good enough to be here. That being said, man, is this a tough season for Robin. Everyone talks around whatever is going on with her, often referring to her as having baggage or her sudden change of personality, but it's not clear what's actually happening, except that she isn't really happy.
I would never want to lose my dignity. And the reason is because, you know, it's not just me anymore, it's me and my child. Would never want to lose my integrity.
I enjoy doing competition physical things, but I don't like the manipulation, the lying, the politicking. I don't like it.
During episode 9, which is the episode before the final, Robin and Mark find themselves at odds with the power couple of the week, CT and DM. They try to plead their case to stay in the game, but CT doesn't trust them, and with Johnny and Camilla going in for elimination after losing the daily challenge, CT and DM opt to send Mark and Robin in against them, believing that Mark and Robin can take out Johnny and Camilla. This really affects Robin and leaves her feeling scared to exit the game so close to the final. Moreover, she approaches the elimination with a defeated attitude, and the other players have to talk some confidence into her. At the elimination, Robin and Mark lose to Johnny and Camilla, officially concluding Robin's journey on the challenge with a disappointing end.
Ethan, I love you. Mommy's coming home, and I miss you, and I love you.
At the reunion show, Paula makes a comment about Robin not enjoying this show anymore, and nowhere is this more clear than on this season.
To the point where when it stops being fun.
Really?
For her. You knew that you were more uncomfortable on this one than in past ones.
The reason I felt that way is I felt isolated. I really did feel, and maybe if I brought that baggage with me, I'm sorry, you know, but I felt like isolated from everyone.
And while Robin would choose to leave reality television for good after filming her 9th season of the challenge, her story is sadly far from over. Part 3, After the Challenge. Robin's life outside of reality television seemed to thrive in the beginning. She reunited with her high school boyfriend, someone who she met in 1994, and ended up marrying him sometime around 2013. Robin and her husband, Brian, seemed to have a good, happy, healthy relationship, where Robin would share throwback pictures of them together, as well as pictures of them at the time, looking pretty happy. The couple would welcome one child during their relationship, a baby girl who they named Raina. Robin and her husband would blend their family with their 2 boys after their marriage. And while I obviously can't judge her personal life based on her social media posts, but Robin seemed to be extremely happy and enjoying motherhood and her marriage at this time. However, some posts did seem to point out some of the issues she was starting to have, with her posting a family picture in 2015, captioning it with, quote, "Yep, I'm married, and yep, we could use the help. He's my soulmate, but issues, yes," unquote. Robin's life would take a drastic turn when her long struggle with substance abuse began sometime after her exit from reality television in 2012. It's hard to point out when her battle began exactly, but when researching Robin, multiple articles would report on her multiple arrests during the 7-year period that followed. Her first documented arrest was in August 2019, with her being charged for possession of illegal substances, including a benzodiazepine. For this arrest, Robin received a sentence of 30 days in jail. This arrest was followed by another one in the same year, yet again for drug possession and trespassing. The following year, Robin would face her 3rd and 4th arrest for trespassing and non-violently resisting arrest, as well as allegedly providing an officer with a false name. 2 years later, in 2022, Robin's issues and struggles would have a huge impact on her family members, who would end up issuing a restraining order towards Robin, an order which Robin would break when she proceeded to trespass once again, all the while using substances on her family's property, allegedly. For this, Robin would be arrested again. Robin's last recorded arrest that I could find came in April 2023, with her being charged for allegedly violating a domestic violence injunction, landing herself in jail for 67 days. After this, Robin would disappear from the news and would be reportedly homeless for that period of her life. This comes after Robin and her husband lost custody of their children, who were now being taken care of by members of Robin's family. During the period of time in which Robin went through her multiple charges, and in what I can only assume was the heart of her addiction, she would continue to post on her social media accounts, while being homeless and repeatedly asking for help. Her pleas for help and her drastic change in appearance and personality understandably left viewers of the show and her co-stars in shock. Quote, "Can anyone out there help me? I'm freezing, my bike is broken, and I'm too cold to walk anywhere. Need a place to crash, please." Unquote. Robin's co-stars on the challenge would chime in with their support for her on social media, and it seems that some of them have tried to reach out and help their friend, but Robin wasn't at the stage where she was willing to accept help. Mark, her ex, and arguably the closest person she was to on the challenge, would address her struggles in a podcast interview as well.
Just, I want to say this because it's sound like I've been getting a lot of messages about Robin, and I wanted to speak on that a little bit. It says she's in a bad place, and just I think the addiction has really taken a hold of her in a terrible way. I know a lot of people have tried to reach out, including her parents and her husband. I hope someone can get to her and convince her to get help. I know deep down she probably wants it, but it breaks my heart knowing that she's in such a bad place. And I think Isela from my original All-Stars was in Tampa and talked to, I actually saw her one day and talked to her, offered some help. But I just hope, because she was such a polarizing character for our group, I'm hoping that she can come out of this dark place for not only her own or herself, but for her kids and her husband and family. But she was always such a character, man. I mean, you could say Robin, everyone knows Robin, just like you say Trishelle or Ruthie or Veronica. But yeah, it's those were the wild times.
After Robin's last recorded arrest, she completely disappeared from social media, and news of her completely stopped until January 2025, where multiple news media outlets broke the news of Robin's recovery. The ex-reality television star made a post on her Facebook account sharing an absolutely stunning picture of herself, in a post where she shared that she has been sober since April of 2023. Quote, "It's been a long journey back to sanity, and I'm loving recovery. Mental mental health is real, and taking care of that as well as my addiction has been a true blessing. I thought I was going to die, and I've put work in to truly get some recovery." Unquote. Robin, who is currently 45 years old, has finally found her way back from addiction, something which I can't imagine the difficulty of, especially with the alleged substances Robin was using. The Ashley Reality Roundup website reported in an article written this year that a sober and happy Robin has now started the process of separation from her husband and is actively working to gain back custody of her children. And with her having a stable job in a restaurant in her hometown of Florida, I'm full of hope that she can reunite with her family and honestly at this point live happily ever after. She earned it.
How much more open can I get? I've given you guys 9 seasons of my life. I've done it a million times. I got so excited about being around these people with different personalities that I lost track of what was important. I'm drained. That's all. I have one goal. Provide for my son. Any means possible. It doesn't mean I need to come here and share my life with people. No, it's not part of it.
In this channel, which has now been mostly dedicated to covering the disturbing turns of the lives of reality television stars, we've talked about a lot of sensitive topics. From Tanya's disturbing history on reality television, a journey that literally showcased and used her abuse of alcohol and the constant bullying she received, to the eventual alleged SA allegations and the lawsuit that followed, as a way to, in my opinion, boost the ratings of a reality TV show, to the racist behavior Camilla proudly showcased on her seasons, and of course the dozen other players who were either involved in some borderline bullying behavior or were bullied themselves during their time on the challenge. Which leads me to conclude, as I often do at the end of these videos, that reality television in the early days was kinda horrible. The more of these videos I make, the more I notice the insanely toxic environment these shows put their stars in. The idea of competing against people who want nothing more than to take your spot, and the strategic gameplay that relies on social connections and the eventual formations of cliques and alliances, and the fact that for some of these people this eventually becomes their full-time job and main source of income, is honestly just too much to handle for just one person, especially when there is no regulation on drinking and with everything being filmed and broadcast to the whole world to see. And in Robin's case, it's really easy to see how this, mixed with whatever issues she has been dealing with, provided the perfect environment that in my opinion set her up for failure. Sure, Robin's life struggles aren't directly related to reality television, as in the case of Tanya and what she experienced, but I can't sit here and tell you in good conscience that it didn't make things so much worse.